Are y'all ready to head off the trails? I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I'm ready to take you on a mysterious journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails right here on Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. We would really appreciate it. You can follow us at Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. You can find me, the Cryptid Huntress, at thecryptidhuntress.com. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Cryptid Huntress. Visit my shop, War Woman Goods, and you can find my shop on my website as well. Shout out to Bumblefoot for that amazing intro music. We have an amazing guest tonight. On SOR, I have Shane Michael Crisp here tonight. Don't forget that right after the show, After Hours has a great program set up for you tonight. So let's get to our guest. Shane Michael Crisp is a field investigator with the North American Dogman Project and is based in Bakersfield, California. He created and founded the West Coast Dogman Project. His social media platform is a place for researchers and experiencers to share photos and evidence of Dogman. When he's not working or going to football practice, Shane's out in the woods looking for Dogman and other cryptids. Shane is married to his best friend who he's been with for the past 8 years and has a 10-year-old stepson. And I have it on good accord that the family who chases Bigfoot and Dogman together stays together. Okay, so let's welcome tonight to our show, Mr. Shane Michael Crisp. Hey Shane.
Jessica, how are you doing?
Hey, I am awesome. I am so excited you're here tonight.
Thank you for having me. Like I said, it's truly an honor to be here and be on your show. I watch it religiously, and it's an honor. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Well, you're a fellow researcher, and I can appreciate that. I actually was watching you on D.A. Roberts' show, and D.A.'s a guest of my show, and and I have a lot of respect for him. So, I was
D.A.'s a great guy.
Great guy, yeah, and he's also kind of, none of us are experts, right? But we love what we do, and we really like our research, and DA's really good at it. Okay, he writes some good books.
Oh, and I'm reading them right now. So.
Oh, are you?
Oh yeah, I ordered all 4 of the Apex Predators books, and I'm currently still on the first one, almost finished with it. So, and I know he's getting ready to release his 5th one. I think it's called Dark Moon. Pretty soon.
Oh yeah, they're going to be good. So, they're all good.
They're all good. I can't complain. So.
Yeah.
Every chapter has you on edge.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Well, okay. So you're kind of new to the research field in terms of you've been doing this for about a year now, right?
Well, I got into the Dogman. Well, I never even heard of Dogman, and Dogman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I always believed in Sasquatch, always believed in aliens, but never really thought, hey, let's go out in the woods and look for them. Hey, if something pops up in the news, hey, I believe that there's something out there. But the whole Dogman topic came to me by my fellow coworker, and he says, hey, man, I want to go look for Dogman. I laughed at him because the name is just the funniest thing. What are you talking about, a werewolf? That's what you think it is. But so he started giving me a few podcasts to listen to, and I'm like, wow, people really believe in these things? But as I start listening more and more, it's like, hey, there's something out there that, your everyday people are seeing, not just people wearing tinfoil on their head. So I'm like, hey, let's start looking into it. So I start Googling it, and a couple months into it, all I'm seeing is just paintings and, blurry photos of certain things. So I came around November of this last year, I came across my good buddy Paul Chafin's page, and, he posts photos, and he doesn't claim that they're Dogmen, but he has some photos in there that look very like a wolf head peeking around the tree. So it made me a believer, and I'm like, I want my own answers. That's the only way I'm going to get the photos and evidence I need to prove myself that these things are real. So I started doing more and more research, and then I joined the NADP. I reached out to Jody Cook back in March and was like, hey, Jody, I love, you're the dude that founded the NADP. I love what you have. I want to be a part of your group. And so he said, you're in Region 1 under Dev Rooney. So I reached out to Dev, and we started talking. We talked for about 2 hours. And she's like, I'd love to have you on my team out here in California. So she sent me the paperwork. I signed the waivers, sent them back, and she sent them to Jody. And here we are. And recently she's made me an admin for the Region 1 Facebook page. So I was truly honored on that. And I'm just out there every other weekend I can to look for evidence. And I think I found some decent evidence, which DA I've sent to him. I went on his show a couple of weeks ago. and a picture of a den, and the footprint
Yeah.
looks very canine.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of wolves in California. I think there's 20, and they're all in Northern California, way far from where I'm at. So I don't know. So I keep doing this to find the answers, prove to myself that these things exist, and I think one day we will get there.
Yeah. Now we actually have those photos with us tonight. We're going to show those in just a minute.
Oh, right
But
on.
you know, so you were actually more interested in Sasquatch, right? When you got into this field.
Well, actually, I was more into UFOs than aliens, and the government releasing more and more stuff. I always believed in Sasquatch, and where my research area actually is very heavy on Sasquatch. There's paintings around the town on it, very squatchy. But I've heard from other researchers that there have been 4 to 5 encounters of Dogman or sightings of them. Are they true? I don't know. But I'm like, hey, let's go check it out. It's real woodsy. So we went up there, and like I say, I found tree structures and evidence. I know that there is Sasquatch in the area.
Oh yeah. You do have some very interesting pictures that you brought up, and so I'm going to show some of those right now.
Okay.
You were mentioning some tree structures. It was like a hut, right?
Yeah, it looked like a hut or a den. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, this was actually pretty cool. How did you come across this?
The wife and I were just out hiking, and I mean, we found this meadow, and we hiked in probably about, I'd say 150 yards in, and we started seeing the tree structures, and I started going and hiking. We crossed by a creek, and from all the research I've done with Sasquatch, Dogman, mainly Dogman, but there's always activity around a waterway. So not far, about 30 yards to the west of this photo, or to the east of it, I'm sorry, there was a creek. And then I just happened to start hiking off and told the wife that, hey, come look at this. What do you think it is? And she's like, I don't know. It looks pretty interesting. So I climbed in there, and I sent this photo to multiple researchers, and a lot of them claim that it looks more like what a Dogman den would look like, because it's not perfectly woven like a Sasquatch would make. I take DA's advice, 100% over, the guy sitting right next to me, but because he's very knowledgeable, but he doesn't claim to be an expert. But he's got photos, and he thinks it looks like it's a Dogman den because of how it's not, perfectly woven. You see, it just looks like branches are thrown in there. I mean, was it a hunting blind, or was it for the young? I don't know. But I was able to sit inside that little den, and it looked like it could fit 2 large size, creatures inside of it. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. Like, I would have loved to have found that when I was a kid.
I know, right? I was jumping for joy. I was like, look, I think we found something.
Yeah. Well, it's stuff like that sometimes we go out in the field when we do, I'm on a big old team, and everybody's kind of got their specialties in something, and it's all different. And we go out and we'll teach each other what we know. And some of the guys are really big into survival. Yes. And building debris huts, and that actually looks similar to something. I mean, that would be like an advanced debris hut, in my opinion. That a human could make.
Human, or if it paranormal, cryptid, I don't know. That's what
it's interesting.
Yeah, I
mean, that would be a great place to take shelter in, for sure, if you're a human and you needed somewhere to shelter at night. So exactly. Dogman, human, whatever, that it's really cool, and that was a great find. I like that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, also, you found a print. Now, was this recent?
Yes, this print was probably about 3 weeks ago. I don't, like I say, there's not a lot of wolves in the area. I didn't have my tape measure with me, but I took out my Winchester knife to kind of use it as a size reference. And we were actually hiking along an old abandoned OHV trail, because there was redwood trees just laying in the trail. So it's not really active. So the wife and I were climbing over, and then eventually she lost cell service, and it was about 5 o'clock at night. And she's like, hey, let's turn around. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm looking up, I'm looking down, I'm looking for any type of evidence. And I saw that, and it just stood out to me. So I sat there and took like 30 photos of this print. I was like, no, this looks very canine, because you can see the 4 points in it. I'm not claiming it's a Dogman photo or a Dogman print, but I sent it to DA, and I sent it to other people, and they say it looks very canine looking. And they wish they would have taken the tape measure with me. Didn't have it, but that knife I measured is 7 feet or 7 inches in length. So from tip to the base. So I don't know. It just stood out to me. So I was like, oh, I have my gut feeling telling me it's Dogman, but
I
don't know.
That's actually great. Now, did you see any other prints? Or was it just
No, it was
one?
only the one. That's
Just
what blew my
one?
mind. I
That's
was like,
always interesting. It can
yeah,
be very anomalous when you just find one print. I mean, we've been out in the woods and people on my team have found one tiny child's footprint in the middle of nowhere by a
wow,
creek, things like that. It doesn't make a
interesting.
lot of sense sometimes.
It
But
really
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah, well, that's another thing that, I know you said you're kind of new to the research and everything. And
Yes.
something that we do as a team, and we've been doing for a lot of years, is taking tracking courses and
Oh,
stuff. And
interesting.
so
Okay.
that's always really fun to do. If you're just
Yeah.
getting, for people who are, I'm not saying you, but like just anyone in general, wants to get into like Bigfooting or Dogman tracking, it's good to take like a class or to go out in the woods with somebody who knows tracking. And now, Shane, I have a feeling you know tracking because you used to work on a farm, right? Or a ranch.
I've worked on multiple ranches out here in
Yeah.
California since I was 16 years old, and I stopped it when I was about 21, 22. So, I mean,
Yeah.
not so much on tracking because we didn't really go hunting coyotes or anything like that.
Okay.
The coyotes out here are not like a pest or anything. And if they are, ranchers go and shoot them themselves. So, but
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
we were more working on fence line or, out gathering cattle and stuff. But that was a fun job to do, but you just don't make any money doing it, being a ranch hand.
Yeah.
And I kind of
But
wanted the whole family life and a real job, a new truck.
you
So
said you wanted a nice truck. Yeah, I know. Not okay. Well, that fair enough. Fair enough. But
yeah,
you obviously love animals. Okay, right?
yes, I'm very a big
You,
animal lover.
and you ride horses, and so you're out in nature, and so it's just natural for people. I love animals. I love nature too. So I get out in the woods as much as possible.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and it's not as much as I'd like these days because I'm kind of
Right.
busy on the weekends now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean with
Well,
this
with a
show and
great
stuff.
show. I mean, you got a big responsibility running a good show.
Exactly. Now, when you've been out horseback riding, have you ever experienced anything paranormal or unusual?
No, unfortunately, I
No?
haven't. When we ride, we just ride along the trails, which are right by a river, but it's very heavy with human activity. Nothing out here in the big city, but it'd be nice to go right up in the deep mountains. I'm pretty sure you get something Sasquatch or something Dogman, because I mean, look at the Patterson Gimlin film. They were riding horseback up in deep country out here in Northern California, and they got the best footage to date is the Patty film. And
Oh
then you
yeah.
still have people today that are trying to debunk it, and they can't. You're not going to debunk that photo from something from
No.
1967. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. Now, well, you said that you take your wife out in the field with you in the woods. Now,
Yes.
is she a good sport with all of this? And does she enjoy going out with you?
Oh, she enjoys the hikes. She's still
Yeah.
skeptical on believing that there is Dogman or Sasquatch or anything, but she does keep an open mind that there could be something out there. But she just likes getting that one-on-one time, and we just go out and we're hiking. And then I walked right by a big old pile of scat 3 weeks ago,
Oh,
and I didn't know what
okay.
it was. And she's like, "That thing's huge," and I was getting ready to take it and bag
You
it
were
and
going to
send it
put it
out
in a
to
bag,
DA.
right?
Yeah, I was going to
It's
send it
gonna-
to DA, but the wife's like, "We're not putting
oh,
scat in my
I'm sure
car."
DA would have loved a good delivery of some poop.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I didn't know what type of scat it was, so we start Googling it. When obviously it wasn't
Oh my
deer scat, but
gosh.
then it came to be black bear scat. So wife's like, "Nope, don't do that. We're not taking that."
Oh my God. That's
So
that's
but she
something that
found that.
I absolutely appreciate the enthusiasm that you have. Like it's just like your heart is in the right place, man. I love this. Like it's so great.
Thank
And
you.
I
I
think
appreciate it.
and that but it's the heart of a researcher. And it's
Yep.
you know, getting out there it means you got to get your hands dirty, okay, so to speak, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I found to be, because you can sit on Facebook and look at all these photos and, think that I understand the community is divided by the blurry photos and then people that want the evidence. That's what I'm trying to do at
Yeah.
Sasquatch is or at West Coast is allow that. And because I don't want to discredit anybody's research, because I don't know if it really is a dog man or if they're blob squatches or whatever the other people are believing it is. But I'm
Yeah.
not there to look at the photo, or I'm not there behind the encounter, so I can't discredit someone. So I allow that at my group just because
Okay.
those people are out there doing the same thing I'm trying to do. We're just trying to get answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's two sides of that. Okay. And I'm not here to give my opinion on stuff, but I
No,
just,
I know.
just from expert, like I am no expert at all, but from experience. Okay.
Yes.
Is, I was, was about 10 years into field research before I actually spoke publicly about it, because I
Really?
was, oh yeah, it took me 10 years to come out of my shell, because, my team's very, well, it's because my team is very secretive about what we do, because of, of the research. And we've been at the same spots for so many years. Some of those guys have been there for 20 or more years at these
Wow.
spots that we research. So
Uh-huh.
we take it really seriously. And so, there's a lot of stuff I still don't talk about on air. I've
I
signed
agree.
NDAs and things like that. And so, when people send me pictures of like blurry stuff with like circles around it and the arrows, I don't entertain it on my show. Like, I don't actually show that. It's not that I don't
Yes.
appreciate it or respect that, but it's just when it comes to the research from my angle is, I just don't show it. I don't
Yeah,
air
no, and
that, because if,
I
yeah,
respect that the other
yeah,
community sides about it, because you're not seeing anything, but you're one person might be able to see it, or you might
yeah,
have a group of people that might be able to see it. But
right,
I totally
right,
understand. I don't entertain it on my show. I just recently went live doing interviews about 2 months
yeah,
ago, but I'm not going to go show blurry pictures, But that's what made
yeah,
me a believer. So that's why I entertain it, because
but
my buddy's photos is to me is one of the best out there. But he's not
yeah,
claiming it's Dogman. He just says, "Hey, this picture just stands out." So, and
yeah,
he's risking his life hiking deep in the woods. He's been bluff charged,
exactly,
growled at. So I'm like, man, and he's got the videos to show it. And I
yeah,
mean, that's the thing. That's like my whole intention for West Coast was to try to bring both sides of the community together. And
yeah,
hey, let's just all be respectful of it. And if you don't have something to say nice about it, scroll past. But you might find 6 other people who'd be like, "Oh, hey, that's a
right.
really good photo." But hey,
Well,
at
it's
the end of the
yeah,
day, what I'm trying to do is circulate the name of Dogman and circulate Sasquatch and all these cryptids to prove the
yeah,
existence that they're out there. That hey,
right.
like that Amarillo Dogman
Oh
skinwalker
yeah,
photo.
what do you think about that?
I truly think it's a fake. I really do. I think I've talked to a few good buddies that have tried discrediting it, and they've said that they think that they're using it to, boost sales to get people to come to the zoo to go look. So at the end of the day,
Yeah,
I truly do think that's what it is. But I don't know. I keep an open mind to all this stuff because, like you said, 7 months
me
ago,
too.
I was laughing at people that believe in Dogman and Sasquatch, and oh, maybe they do exist, but I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
all in it now. It's like I said, I'm 31 years old and I'm trying to get answers myself. As soon as I get that encounter, I might just bow out of this and say, "Hey, I'm not in this for the
yeah.
fame. I'm in this for my own personal, experience."
Right.
So
Well, see, and that's another angle too that I take is like I've never been able to prove things to anybody. And so
yeah,
that's why I've been comfortable like not talking about my research so much because,
yeah,
people, my friends, okay, I think I was probably ridiculed more by my friends and family,
yeah,
when I was doing all that. And had I gone public earlier, I probably would have been more it would have been more accepted by strangers than the people
yeah,
that I was closest to, that shared the similar experiences that I had. And I
yeah.
kind of, I'm not going to lie, I kind of have it like that now. I've made friends through the community that I vibrate on that level with now because we all have these experiences. So it's actually really awesome what you're doing with your channel and having it be a place where people can exchange information
Yeah,
and
and that's
pictures
what.
and whatever. It's your channel,
Yeah,
and I think that's great.
yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
just like you, Jessica, I try to stay, private about it. I have had coworkers laugh at me about, "Hey, you
yeah,
believe in bipedal canine?" I don't know. I've gotten ridicule, and I try to keep
I,
it, more hush hush, just with the family. But I've made so many friends in the cryptid community alone, the Dogman community especially, all the way from Texas up to Maine, down to Kentucky and Florida. It's truly awesome, and we all have the same thing in mind, and I think that's what I think it's all about. Is I think all of us coming together, one day we will get those answers. But just like the government's releasing more evidence of UFOs and UAPs, as well as Sasquatch.
yeah.
So if we can get the Dogman, that's what I'm all about, is the Dogman. So
Yeah. Well, I'm all about the Dogman too. I never even thought about being, having to watch my back for Dogman in the woods because I
right,
was out there looking for Sasquatch. Okay. And
right,
then I started doing my remote viewing show. Okay.
mhm.
Where I remote view paranormal attacks. And lo and behold, I got so many requests for the Beast of LBL. Okay.
Wow.
And the Siege at Lockett Ranch
Uh-huh.
and Joe Bald Wreck area with DA. And
Those
my life,
photos are awesome
yeah.
from the
Oh,
Joe
his photos
Bald.
are great. Yeah,
Probably the most
that
credible I think I've seen. One of the top 5 easily.
I agree with you on that. Absolutely. And but I didn't, I'd heard of the Dogman and I knew that I figured they existed, right? But I'd never
Mhm.
experienced one myself. But then when I started doing the remote viewing on the Dogman, I was seeing something that was pretty terrifying. And I was seeing
Wow.
people being attacked and killed by a gigantic dogman that looked like a hyena. Okay. So
Wow.
yeah, it's actually, I have the picture that has the different types of dogmen. I guess we can show that right now. Do you
Yeah, that'd
mind if
be
we should?
awesome.
How about let's show that, Shane? Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, there are. If, for whoever does not know this already, there are different types of dogmen. Okay, everybody watching tonight, and and the ones that I've seen through remote viewing look kind of like that canine variant 2 mixed with a
Wow.
canine variant 3. Okay, and
Wow.
yeah, I mean, Shane, in your experience for like, evidence that people have sent you, what is the most common looking dog man,
The
do you
most
think?
common, I mean, from what I personally think, I think there's no two type of dogmen that look the same. I think there's different species of them, just like with
Yeah.
dogs. But of talking to a lot of people that have had encounters, I was talking to my buddy Ryan Tremblay the other night, and he said that his encounter was with the canine variant 2, the hyena look. I've talked to a few people up in the Pennsylvania and Maine area, and theirs was the canine variant 3 and one that looks like the
Yeah.
variant 1. But the type 3s, I've talked to certain people and we've kind of had the little debate. I'm like, if it's got the tall, lean, and with a baboon looking head, and it's got the hominid type leg structure, to me, I think those are, Gugway sightings, to be honest with you. I think the
Yeah.
Gugways gets misinterpreted for the dogman. So that's my
Yeah.
personal research I've done on it. I think that the top list is mainly Gugway sightings, but the bottom four definitely with the plantigrade leg structure, or
Yeah.
more like the canine leg structure, are more dogmen. So, I mean, that's just my theory. I'm not saying, hey, that the top ones are
Yeah.
Gugway. I just believe, I was talking to my buddy Ryan, and he said that a lot of people think that dogman sightings are misinterpreted Gugway sightings.
Yeah. Now explain to the audience what the Gugway is. Or not everybody's super familiar. Now it's more of a
Okay, so
Sasquatch,
I'm
right?
new. Yeah, I guess it's a cousin. I'm new to it.
It's a
When my
distant
buddy
relative,
Ryan
right?
started talking about it, he's like, "Hey, they're Gugway," and I was like, "What is Gugway?" So I started doing research, and he started telling me Gugway in native, I forget what native tribe, but it means
Hmm.
face eater, and they're more vicious and more
Face eater.
territorial. Yeah, that's what creeped me out. So it's like on a scale of 10, I'm all about dogman on a 10. Gugway's like at a 9.5. I'm trying to find anything I can. I've even created other pages for certain topics like Sasquatch, Gugway, chupacabras, and skinwalkers.
Yeah. Andrew Gnome's Trucking and Express. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Yeah. So yeah, well, he's okay. Andrew's talking about the LBL, okay, and the
Yes.
family that was killed there. Now that was a rumored event that happened, but when I remote viewed that, okay, the first person that I was so blown away by the evidence and the data that came back. Or I say evidence, but it's data through my remote viewing that I did of the LBL attack. That I contacted Jody Cook. Okay,
That was the perfect thing to do.
he
To
was
me
the first
personally,
person I
being
contacted. Yeah,
yeah, Jody's got the best research and has over 30 years on this stuff. He's not an expert or claiming it to be, but he's got the most credible evidence. He's gone down and talked to the people, the eyewitnesses. So anybody
yeah.
that tried to say that Jody doesn't have credible evidence on the LBL, he's the guy to go to about it.
He
So
does. He's got great evidence, actually. And he immediately sent me a documentary, a video with some confessions of people that had seen things. And, I've had Jody on my show. And,
I
uh,
know
and
that was
so
actually a really good interview.
thank
I
you.
thought it was
Yeah.
really good. Every time watching Jody's interview, same with Nick Valente, DA Roberts, they're all
Yeah.
great. So
Oh, yeah. No,
that's why I'm a
it's,
proud member of the NADP, because one day I want to be like those guys, and they're like role models to me. And I'm out in Region 1, so I don't fall under any of their jurisdictions, but I'm under Region 1 under Dev Rooney, and she's been nothing but a great friend. And I can reach out to her whenever I need something. And like I say, she sends me in the right direction. So,
yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, the head of Region 5, Bob Wilson, is on one of my teammates down here in,
oh,
in the
really?
South.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if he's still the Region 5 director, but he has
I
been
think
for a
he
while.
is, isn't he? I
Yeah.
think
He,
he's
he
got a
has
lot
been
of
for a while.
South in his jurisdiction, I believe, right?
He does. Yeah, the whole
13
South.
states.
Oh
Oh, the
yeah,
whole
it's a
South.
bunch.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think.
just sent him a friend request the other day. I saw him pop up. I'm like, whoa, how cool would it be to have all 5 region
Yeah,
directors
oh,
as friends.
Tell him
You
you're friend.
know?
Tell him you're friends with Jessica. He'll
Oh,
accept you.
I definitely will.
Oh,
I hope
Grumpy.
so.
Oh yeah, he'll accept you. Okay. Well, he's probably watching tonight. Hey, Grumpy. I hope you're watching. Okay. Well, Andrew was saying that the LBL sent the Army sent a unit from Fort Campbell and they killed the Dogman. Now, I
Oh,
did
wow.
hear that I hear that there are units that are sent out to control the populations of dogmen. Shane. Now,
Oh,
is
I
that
believe
something
it.
that you're familiar with?
No, I'm still new to all this. And like I say,
Yeah.
I'm only 6 months in, probably about 7 months into real heavy research. But I don't discredit anything because I keep an open mind to it. But
Yeah.
I do believe there's a certain individual in the Dogman community that's going around saying he was the fifth member of the family. And totally, I'm not discrediting him at 100%, but
Roger.
it's
Right.
so, yeah, I didn't want to bash his name, out of respect to the
Well, it's
NDP,
out
but
there. It's all over the place. Yeah.
yeah, it's totally
Yes.
180. So
Yes. Well, I did remote view that, and I can say in my data there was not an extra person there. Okay, but it
even
doesn't mean
better.
that he was not there. It just means that he was not in my data.
Oh,
Okay,
well,
and I'm
there's
going to
the
leave it at
evidence
that.
right there for you.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, but like I say, out of
Yeah.
respect for the NDP, I'm not gonna,
Right.
go bash
We
the
don't.
guy.
We won't go
So
there. We're not going to go there tonight. But I
yeah,
just to state that. So
yeah.
yeah, but yeah. So there's a whole bunch of famous Dogman stories though out of the United States. Now, do you guys have you guys had a lot of reports of Dogman in California?
So from all the research I've done in the last 6 months, I try to focus on the West Coast area or just in the Western states. But yeah, there's plenty of encounters. I've got 5 that are on the NADP website that all the way going from 1953 to just 2 years ago. So
Oh
there's
wow.
encounters up and down California.
Well,
Mm,
you know what? I happen to have a map of the regions of the NADP,
okay.
and so we can actually see the regions here. And it states on here that there have been at least since 2022 there have been at least 140 reports of
Wow.
Dogman across the United States. Now, imagine if you know. I'm a Bigfoot field researcher. I have never reported a Bigfoot to
Mhm.
anyone, okay, except for my team. I have never reported UFOs to MUFON. I have never
Mhm.
reported anything like that, ghosts or whatever. I don't report anything.
Yeah.
Imagine all of the other sightings that nobody ever reports. Okay, that's a lot. There's probably a lot more than that, but
Yeah. I
yeah,
totally agree with that.
nonetheless, yeah, nonetheless, there's a lot. I mean, 140 is still a lot, and I believe it says that the first sighting that was reported was back in 1887 in Michigan. It was the Michigan
Wexford
Dogman.
County. Yep,
Yeah,
Wexford County. That's the first story I read on, and that kind of made me more. That's what made me interested. That these guys were just out logging, cutting down trees, and this bipedal canine come running up on them, and they
yeah.
described it as the typical, werewolf, 7 foot tall, had a dog-like face. And I think that's where the name started was Dogman because they had a human-looking body, but you know, dog-like legs and dog-like face.
I mean,
So
they're huge. I actually also pulled up a chart off of the North American Dogman Project of a dogman. Okay, so that big animal right there on the top, that is the actual size of a typical dogman, according to the national, or not the national, the North American Dogman Project. Okay, now if you look down, the tiny little animal at the bottom is a coyote. That's about the size of a dog. Okay,
yeah,
that would be a
little guy.
normal dog. I mean, so these creatures are nothing to play with. Okay,
No, terrifying.
huge. I mean, a bear, that is a bear right there beside it, and it's at least twice the size of a bear.
Oh,
So
easily, yeah, 4 feet to 7, just at the shoulder. So that's what gets me so interested is these things can go on all fours and then go bipedal, and they're super fast according to reports and sightings. So that's what I think drives me to go out there and research them.
yeah. Yeah. Hey, brown dwarf. Yeah, so I've been hearing this too. So have been a lot of reports down on the border, okay?
Yes.
Um, in Texas and all down on that Central America, Texas border, America border of dogmen. Okay, and like the border patrol is having to deal with these, from what I hear. Have you
Yes,
heard
I've heard
that?
of some. I've heard. I don't know if they're creepy pasta stories I've been listening to, but I do believe there's something with the border, especially by the California. There was one I listened to, and the guy ended up losing his job because him and his buddy were out one night and they were driving. and they work for, the Border Patrol, and he saw a hyena looking variant, and it had the yellow eyes that started coming towards him, and then they ended up bouncing. He's like, I got to say something. Well, he had to pick up his pink papers right after his shift, and because he'd seen it and was going to report it. I think a lot of it with the government agencies is they keep it hush hush. So,
oh yeah. Well, I can tell you from experience by remote viewing the Dogman that it is absolutely a government cover up, 100%. And I mean, and there's a lot of my data that comes back, and like I said, I'm no expert, but it says that they come from facilities, and so I've even heard reports that they're collared and they're chipped. Okay, have you heard that?
I've heard that through Jeff Nadolny's show. Some of the stuff, like I say, you can't discredit anybody's information. Some people, I do believe, do try to profit off the Dogman with the creepypasta stories. But I do believe that some truth to this. There is special unit teams that go out and they take these things out if they go rogue, or like you said earlier, control the population.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I've had, once you start doing this and you have shows, and you're talking about Dogman, you're talking about Bigfoot, you start getting contacted by a lot of people who have a lot of good stories. And so I've heard, people confirming a lot of these things that we talk about. I have, whether, like you say, you can't discredit them, can't discredit everybody, but you also have to take everything with a grain of salt as well. And I know from experience that there are going to be people who purposely try to get in and feed us information that's either wrong or they're plants, for whatever reason, they don't want this information getting out there.
No, and like you said, it's a big government cover-up. I truly believe that it is, because what it comes down to is the national parks. You tell them that there's a 7-foot bipedal werewolf or Dogman out there that's killing people. It's going to affect revenue. They're not going to want to go out there and camp. So,
man,
they got to make their money. So, but that's why they keep it hush hush. But I think, like Jody stated in the past in certain interviews, that hey, why not? Get it if you're trying to do that. Tell them that there is a Dogman down in LBL.
Make T-shirts, right?
Yeah,
keychains,
make T-shirts. Hey, that's what they do here in California, where my research area is. They sell so much Sasquatch keychains and posters. It's funny. I'm just like, wow.
I need to visit there. I know. Yeah. I love anything with Bigfoot on it. Okay, so
Northern California especially is
yeah. That's what he said. He said to monetize it, and and that will make it where it's not such a mystery. But the fact that they haven't done that at these national parks, like at the LBL, for instance, the Land Between the Lakes. You go up there, they say you go up there, and if you even mention it, they run you out of town.
Oh, yeah. The locals don't want tourists there. And I wouldn't blame them. I wouldn't want my privacy because of, being affected by some bipedal canine. So it's like, but I think it is at the end of the day, like Jody said, monetize it if that's what you want to do. Look at Roswell's done it. You go to any gas station in Roswell, New Mexico, and you're going to find an alien. I think something alien related or UFO related. I mean, the McDonald's they made it out of the shape of a UFO. So.
Oh yeah. well, speaking of all that, okay, so you kind of touch on everything. Like you're into UFOs, you're into Bigfoot, you're into Dogman. Yes. I mean, probably ghosts and Lord knows, just same stuff I'm into. Okay.
Yeah.
And we have been that way for a long time, or I have since I was a kid. You probably have too.
Oh yeah. My mom had me on to the werewolf movies when I was a kid. We were watching aliens, horror movies. I mean, I believe it all. I believe there's something to it, especially with the paranormal. Yeah. I'm not super big into the paranormal just because I think that you don't mess with something and, bring it home with you. But yeah, I do believe that there is ghosts. I do believe that the paranormal, the UAPs, the UFOs, Sasquatch, Gugway. Well, I think, like you said earlier, I think backstage that everything's connected. That's what I truly believe. I don't know. I don't believe in portals. I mean, I keep an open mind to portals and inner dimensions and all that, but I do believe a lot of these creatures, especially with Sasquatch and Dogman, are flesh and blood.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You made a key point there. Just keep an open mind. Okay. Yeah, because when you're out in the field researching, you never know what you're going to happen upon. Okay. And so just keep an open mind. And, and in my opinion, I think that's one of the main characteristics I look for in research partners. Okay. Yeah. It's just having an open mind.
That's what I'm trying to do over here. And like I said, I've only been doing this for 7 months. I just keep an open mind to it. And when I first got into it, I thought, my wife was going to leave me. Like, really, you're going to believe in 7-foot bipedal canines? I don't know, but here we are. And I think I've met a lot of great people. I've found, I've done a lot of incredible research, just reading. I mean, not evidence wise, but I think the more I get out there, I think we will get answers, and hopefully we can connect it from the West Coast to the East Coast, and one day bring the existence of these creatures and spread the awareness. That's what I'm doing at West Coast. So
yeah. Well, you know what? The best way to get out there and do it is just to put your boots on and get out there. Okay.
Yep.
That's the best. And the more you're out in the woods, the more evidence you're going to get, the more experiences you're going to have, and the more stories you're going to have to tell. Okay.
Exactly.
And that's always a good thing.
I'm late to the rodeo, so, but I think I can get on, and we can, I'll hopefully get up to par and up to speed.
You're still young. Hey, you're younger than I was when I started, but I hope that doesn't give my age away. Okay. But yeah, I was not even, I was older than you are now when I first started. So there's no age where you can, be young or old in this.
There really isn't. That's why I tell people about riding horses too. You're never too old to learn how to ride. So same thing with the cryptid community. You're going to have people that are knowledgeable and have, 30 to 40 years of research under the belt. But hey, they're not claiming to be experts. And those are the guys I want to be associated with, because when you get these know-it-alls that say, "Oh, I'm an expert."
There's no experts in this, but hey, you are running with the right crowds. Let me tell you, you're associating with the right people, and you're getting lots of knowledge right now, and that's definitely just beautiful. Yeah. Now I do have a question. Okay, so something that I just started, studying the past few years are skinwalkers. Okay, and looking into this Dogman at Joe Bald, I was seeing that it seemed to be more of a skinwalker. Okay. Do you know the difference between a skinwalker and a Dogman, or is it the same thing?
My personal, like I said, it's drawing my interest too. I've even created a page, and I've talked to a good buddy of mine up here in Northern California, and he claims to have tracks, and he shows us evidence of what he thinks is a skinwalker. He calls it the Wolfman. It decides to take the form of a wolf. And I believe a majority of the times from the research, little bit of research I've done on skinwalkers, is that their name, I might be butchering it, but the Navajo term is called the Yi Naldulshi, I think is how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
But that means pretty much on all fours. And they they can take the form of any animal they want, but they're, bad medicine men in the Navajo tribe. And but they take the form of more of a bipedal canine, but they're a lot smaller than I think your typical Dogman. So I do believe some skinwalker sightings or Dogman sightings are actually skinwalkers as well. I hear that they cry out, try to lure you in. I'm still learning. I'm so new to the skinwalkers and the chupacabras and Gugway. I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to learn it all, but like I say, I've only learned a little bit about the skinwalker. And I talked to my buddy Steven Doxium Barrios, and he's a native. And he says he does these rituals for protection. He burns the sage and the sweetgrass. And I just talked to William Nighthawk the other night, and he was telling me about the skinwalkers as well. And interesting that there's not a lot of natives that want to talk about it, because it brings bad luck and draws them into them. That's why I think they stay hush hush about it. But with these guys going out and talking about it, it brings awareness to them. And hey, if I'm willing to help, I'd love to be able to do that. So.
Yeah, no, I have a little story. When I was, I guess when I first got into this Bigfooting stuff, I was hanging out with some friends of mine, and one happened to be a medicine man from I'm just going to say down here in the South. And we were talking about skinwalkers one night, and he told me, he said, I could turn you into a skinwalker. He was like, I have the ability to do that, is what he told me. Yeah. And he was like, but it would cost you dearly. It would basically cost me my life or my soul or something like that. It was enough. It was what he said was enough for me to say, no, thank you.
Right. You're like, no, I don't want to. I heard nothing but bad things with them. I've heard all the way from you'd have to lose a loved one to become a skinwalker. I've heard that in a little bit of research I've done with the dog or with the skinwalkers is that's what it comes down to. It's just bad stuff.
It's bad spiritually. It's bad. Okay. Yes. Especially, I'm a very spiritual person, and and that would not sit right with my soul.
I couldn't sleep at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Knowing I turned someone into a skinwalker. So
yeah. Well, but I have the question too. Like, where do Dogmen come from? I mean, can humans turn into werewolves. You know, we see all those movies, and you got to think, like, you know, the media puts it out there to put it in our faces, because they have to tell us, right, on a spiritual level. They have to tell us what's going on, but make a joke about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think with the whole werewolf term, I do believe that like I said, I keep an open mind to all this. So
Right, me too.
I think that they did. The werewolf came over, and you know, when they came down to the South area with the French and everything, and the loup-garou and the rougarous, and I believe that maybe that it came over, and it's just that's what they're seeing down in the South is the rougarou, and I believe if it does change, it's just a werewolf with a different name. But with it being a dog, do I personally believe in werewolves? And I do believe that skinwalkers and werewolves have the same type of capability, but I believe one changes, you know, on the moonlight, the full moon, and the other ones are just bad medicine men, evil.
Yeah.
But I keep an open mind to it, and I have my own beliefs that they're real or not. But hey, you're telling me there's a werewolf out there in Michigan, I'm going to think it's more of a dogman, my personal self, but
yeah. Well, I know several people who have had up close and personal encounters with dogmen. So,
really?
you know, very credible people. I mean, Tex with Texas Front Porch saw one at least twice when he was a teenager. So, and that was in Texas. Yeah. And, you know, we have reports of them here where I live in the county, you know, and like I always like to say, it's always good to be friends with the local law enforcement. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, have a contact with the sheriff's department, you know, so that when they get those calls in, they can, you know, it can go down the grapevine to you, you know,
exactly.
When there's,
I know there's a lot of activity out in Texas and in the South. I believe one spot I have circled on my map if I ever go out of state is to go to Taylor, Mississippi. Taylor, Mississippi, the reports out there just there's something out there.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely something out there. And yeah. I mean, I've been on a search for a long time. Okay. And I have gotten exactly what I was looking for. You know, I've experienced Bigfoot. I've experienced a lot of stuff that I never thought I'd experience. But I've never actually seen a Bigfoot up close, like face to face.
Really?
I haven't. And, you know, and I've talked to many people that have been in the field for years. You know, some people have been in the field for 20 something years and have still never had an up close and personal encounter.
Have you got to see any tree structures or anything like that? Have you gotten evidence of that or in the footprints?
Oh yeah, we get all of that. Absolutely. You know, my team has actually experienced a portal, you know, and we have it documented and sent people inside of it, and they came back out and we're able to tell about it. Yeah.
Wow.
Because, you know, when you're out in the field and it's not like we happened upon it. And so that's kind of what I mean. Like when you're out there doing research, keep an open mind because you never know what you're going to encounter.
Yeah, especially a portal. I mean, that right there, you just telling me that draws me to the Scott Carpenter video that he had of one coming out of a portal. And he had his camera facing behind him, and you clearly see something exit out of there. He zooms in, and you see something, but he said it looks like water almost, just like a circular round water thing, and it came walking out. So that's why I keep an open mind to the portal theory, because are these things interdimensional? We don't know. But if you and your crew have encountered a portal, it just shows right there that that's your evidence. Yeah. Now, is everyone going to believe that? No, but that's why I think what we're all trying to do in this cryptid community is to bring the existence of, hey, portals, Dogman, Sasquatch, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Well, you know, we don't know what a lot of this stuff is. And, you know, my team has not released that video yet. Like you can see it, like Trey, the head of my team, spoke at the Alabama Bigfoot conference a couple of weeks ago, and he did show that video there to the people at the conference. So there, you know, it's there, you know, but it just hasn't been released on a big scale to the public yet. You know, is the public ready for all this kind of stuff? I think the general public is. I think they're so ready for disclosure. Yeah, you know, I think Bigfoot shows have been out there long enough where people are acclimated. Every car that I pass on the road has a Bigfoot sticker on the back. Okay, right?
You'll see that on the West Coast, especially up in Washington. Washington's the #1 state in the union that has the most reported encounters with Sasquatch. And I went up there last year to go visit my grandpa, and I went on a hike, and the whole state is just super heavy in woods. And I mean, where I went, up by the Seattle area, it was where he lived. But yeah, very squatchy.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, wait. Travis is saying that the Dogman is the ancient progenitor race and they are friendly and are our best friends. Interesting.
I keep
Um,
an open mind to that too. I
Keep an
wouldn't
open mind. I mean, I don't know. I have never heard of a positive encounter with a Dogman, though. Have you?
either have I. I've heard some strange encounters though on a certain podcast where they said they got into a fight with them or they were feeding them and named them. So
Feeding them and name them. Okay,
yeah.
you know what? I heard a very interesting question one night, and it was,
Uh-huh.
Matt, who's on my show last weekend. He was asking someone, have you ever called in Dogman, I think, and I can't remember who he was interviewing, but he said, "Have you ever called in a dog? How do you call in a Dogman?" And I thought, man, I've never even thought to ask that question to anyone because I've
Yeah.
never wanted to call in a Dogman.
Well, that's what I'm trying
but
to do is have that
but
encounter. People say I'm weird
yeah.
for wanting to go out there and look for it, but it's the only way I think, to me personally, I'm going to prove the existence to myself that they have. And I was out in the woods playing animal in distress calls, and we heard a loud snap, and it scared my wife. She's like, "You need to stop playing those animal in distress calls." I hear that will draw a
Oh,
dog man in though. So
that's a great way to call in a Dogman, I would assume.
yeah, but it freaked her out. She's like, "Well, you got to think of the real animals that bears and mountain lions too." I was like, "Yeah, maybe out of your safety, I won't do that." So
Yeah, because I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get. I mean,
you really don't.
I did a show last night on the lizard man out in South Carolina, and
Yeah.
there were reports of a 16-year-old kid was changing his tire on the side of the road, and he thank goodness he had gotten done changing his tire and was
Uh-huh.
putting his flat and his jack in this trunk, and he turns around and there's like a 7 foot tall hulking figure running right at him, and
Holy smoke.
we just never know what we're going to encounter out
You
there,
really
and
don't.
I don't know. I can't decide it. Would I rather have the lizard man or a dog man chase me? I'm not sure.
Lizard Man's a new one to me. I think now, do you associate those with the reptilians or the UFO reptilians and all that, or do you think they're different species of them?
Oh, are you talking about the lizard man?
Yeah,
Well, you know what? I'd say y'all need to go watch my show and you'll find
I'll
out. But
go
I'll go
check it
ahead and tell
out.
you. No, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I actually remote viewed that, and it's a reptilian.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a reptilian. Okay.
it was.
But
Yeah,
just
it
call it
is.
Lizard
But
Man
still,
just
y'all go
because,
watch my show.
yeah, right? Click like and subscribe.
Yes, please go to my show. Okay. But yeah, that was actually a really fun show last night. But,
Interesting.
you
Okay. Yeah,
know,
I'll check it out after the show.
yeah. But like I said, we never know what we're going to get.
You really don't.
Keep an open mind because a lot of people actually thought that lizard man could have been a Bigfoot. Okay. Because it's like the same
Interesting.
size. It was kind of
Yeah.
hulking and it had red glowing eyes. And Bigfoots are the same way. So, you
Yeah.
know, it helps to be able to look at things through a remote viewing aspect sometimes just to get the real deal on it and find out
That's
what the
awesome that you
differences
do
are.
that.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with
Yeah.
doing that because that's how you can get answers. And you've already proved that the LBL, with the remote viewing, it happened.
Yeah. Well, I believe it happened. Absolutely. I really do. Yeah. And I
I heard
hope we
there's a
don't ever have
photo.
any. Yeah. Well, there's all the documentary that Jody sent me.
Yeah,
There's
that's what I
people
was gonna
that.
say. Was it's pretty funny. Some people were floating around a picture from the LBL with the murder site with the crew there, and it got sent to me, and I'm like, "Is this real?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's from the actual thing." So I sent it to Jody. It's like, "Hey Jody, can you touch up on this and see if this is real?" He's like, "Yeah, it's one of my photos." So that's what sucks about the community is they circulate things to say it's real, but then it sets us back 2 steps. But hopefully one day we'll
Yeah.
get the our answers that we seek, and as a community come together as one. But you can only hope.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of people arguing, whatever. I don't know. I've had a very good experience with all of this and with
Yeah.
all the research and stuff. And I really appreciate being able to exchange research information with people all over the country, and getting to
Yeah.
meet people and hearing everybody's views on their research and what they're experiencing out there. It's amazing. I love it. Okay. And
Oh, here. I've
it
met
makes me
some of the
sad
most
when people
different people.
argue.
Yeah. I try to limit it, but I got to learn to where, hey, you need to just not say anything nice, just scroll past, I guess. But I gotta,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna try to have both the people that are hard on evidence or the people with the blurry photos, I'm just trying to be the guy in the middle. Say, hey, you can post, you guys can have an opinion. That's just what we're
Yeah.
trying to do. And I'm, like I say, I created West Coast with the intention of wanting to bring those people together and to get answers and not discredit anyone's research, because at the end of the day, we don't know what they see or what they saw. And yeah, a zoomed in pixelated photo with this red circle around it, it's hard to believe. 90% of it probably is pareidolia, but it's the people that claim and state, hey, I don't know what this is. It just stood out to me. That's why I'm like, hey, I think I might see something there too. But hey, it gets people out into the forest, out into the woods. They're researching, circulating the name of the cryptid that they're looking for. And that's why, like I say, I don't discredit anyone.
Yeah.
Keep an open mind to it.
Well, it's such a pop culture thing right now too, and I am blown away by the amount of popularity that Bigfoot,
Yes.
Sasquatch, Dogman has. I mean, Dogman is really gaining a lot of traction as far as being in the public. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie, my highest viewed shows are about Dogman. Okay,
It's really. That's the
who'd have
thing
thunk
that,
it?
yeah. I mean, you think it would be Sasquatch, but I think Sasquatch is so well known from, the Patterson Gimlin film and all these TV shows. Now you're telling me there's a bipedal canine out in the woods, killing people, terrorizing people, eating deer carcasses and walking on two legs. It's going to be pretty interesting, and it's going to get people, circulating the name and trying to prove the existence of these things, and people writing creepy pasta stories about it, to get the name circulating. Hey, I'm all for it. It's getting the awareness out, and that's what I'm all about, is spreading awareness of these creatures.
Yeah. And you're doing a great job. And I love that. Listen, and you're into the research. Just promise me one thing. Okay. Don't ever send me a bag of poop. Okay.
No, I definitely won't. I even told DA, when it comes to scat, man, I'm not going to do that. I'll send you hair samples.
I don't want that. Yeah. I'm not a scientist. Okay.
Yeah. No, my wife, she shut that down. So
I know.
No scat.
I'm sorry, that is so funny. I didn't mean to make a joke about that, but that's really funny.
No. It was funny because I was 100% gonna do it, and the wife had to shut me down.
Like, your wife is a smart lady, man. I don't know. I would have. Yeah. Listen, it's not that we haven't ever thought of that. My team, we go out. We've got our our bags and our our rulers and all the stuff. I mean, to collect samples and stuff like that. I still carry that in my backpack when I'm out there, but I can't remember the last time I grabbed a sample of anything. So right. Yeah, but that's just kind of where I'm at right now. I'm when I go out in the woods these days, I like to go just experience. Okay. And, I do have people on my team that are very scientific and are there to collect a lot of the evidence, but I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, Shane, we went from being a Bigfoot field research team to just being like a paranormal field research team, because we get more like UFO alien activity these days out there. Yeah. So it's kind of morphed. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it must be all connected somehow, because I've heard of multiple accounts where you're out there and all of a sudden there's a strange light, and then a Bigfoot shows up and then it disappears, and it's like a UFO,
Yeah.
So that to me just says that there's somehow it's all circulated, but
yeah,
who knows? That's awesome though. Now I'm the same way with you. Like I've talked to DA a lot about him telling me about the evidence and keeping, gloves on you and all this. And because NADP is all about evidence. And that's what I'm trying to do, is send them the stuff I find. But at the end of the day, I try not to send the scat. So maybe the claw marks, or, a hair on a barbed wire fence or something,
Yeah, no, it's great to have hair samples. But it's really great to have someone that you can send it to, that you can trust. Yes. We actually have a wildlife biologist on my team, and so he will take the hair samples and look at them under a microscope, and do that deep digging into the scientific part of it. I'm more of an experiencer, and I go out there and here I am doing my remote viewing, and I'm that one.
I'm like you. I just want to go out and experience, but I'm all about trying to get the evidence too, because there's guys like Jody and DA and Dev and Nick Valente. I would send those samples too. And I know that they have the best intention to, hey, this is evidence, or say, hey, dude, it's just a bear. I don't know. I believe they have the best intention on, with evidence. So if I come across it, I definitely will send it to those guys.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. I just love all the work that the Dogman project's doing, and you too. I mean, this is great. Now you have your Facebook group, and now do you divide your groups into subgroups? Like you've got the Dogman project, and now you got like the Sasquatch and the aliens, and I mean, explain how that works.
Well, I know that it takes a lot of work, and I enjoy trying to separate it because I do believe that these cryptid groups are just all about Dogman and what is it, Dogman and Sasquatch. But I was like thinking, hey, why doesn't we don't hear about the chupacabras or the skinwalkers or the Gugway? And it's a lot of work, and it probably won't be of any success. But I wanted to bring this awareness to those certain cryptids, and hey, that's why I came up with it. But Dogman and Sasquatch are definitely going to be more terrifying. And you get a Gugway, they're going to just associate with the Sasquatch. So,
yeah, I know. Well, it's still debatable as to whether they're friends or enemies or whatever. Yeah. I think it kind of varies, just like humans and all of us. There's some people we like and some people we don't, So
exactly.
We're going to.
I created them out of fun. That's really what it is, and not just for fun, but to circulate the names of those certain specific cryptids, like the Gugway. There's really not a whole lot of information out there on them. I don't believe that it's new. I just believe that there's not a lot of sightings and encounters because people probably end up going missing. These things are territorial, and I mean, their name alone says face eater. So
yeah, well, you better be careful out there. You and your wife and your stepson, y'all be careful now. Now, people can find you at the West Coast Dogman Project. That's on Facebook. And do you have a YouTube channel?
I just started a YouTube channel about 2 months ago, and I'm just trying to keep it Dogman related. So if you've had a Dogman encounter and you want to talk about it without ridicule and just that you want to hear about it, or I'm interested in hearing about it. So yeah, just hit me up, and I'd love to have you. We'll book you on, and I'm just trying to keep it strictly Dogman. So because I'm a Dogman enthusiast, and I think that's what my whole intention with West Coast Dogman Project is to bring the name just Dogman, circulate the name, and hear people's encounters like Vic Cundiff does with his show. And but yeah, give them more of a live Q&A so people can log in and be like, oh, okay, well, what happened at this encounter? Ask a live Q&A. You can't do that on Dogman Encounters. So
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, hey, I'll be tuned in. I'm definitely going to be tuned in. Shane, thank you so much for being here tonight. I had a blast talking with you.
Thank you, Jessica. It's been an honor. Like I said, truly an honor. And thank you so much. And definitely look forward to talking to you more.
Yeah. Well, listen, come back with us one day. Okay. And we'll talk some more Dogman. We'll listen about your research some more.
Okay. Sounds good.
Listen to you. Okay.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. You have a good one.
You have a great weekend. Thank you. All right, y'all. That was awesome. Shane's really cool. Y'all don't forget that right after the show, you can join the live crew on After Hours. They're going to take you on an incredible, mysterious journey for the next 3 hours. Tomorrow night on Off the Trails, my guest is Glenn Jackson, a Bigfoot and paranormal field researcher from Georgia, my teammate. Okay. And we're going to be talking about the Mount Vernon monster and the Alabama White Thing. Okay. So I can't wait to see y'all there. But for now, I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I will see you guys I guess tomorrow. Y'all have a really good night. Bye.